Today I'm going to be talking about some of the techniques and tools we have for diagnosing issues with live cloud applications in Microsoft Azure. My name is Mark Downey. I'm a program manager on the Visual Studio team. Specifically, I do work around the time travel debugging tools and Snapshot debugger and IntelliTrace. I basically I look after tools where we want to find out more information about a particular piece of code that we've developed locally and now we've distributed somewhere. Specifically in this talk, however, we're going to focus around the Azure scenarios where you have a specific application that you've deployed to some particular Azure compute scenario, and now you're looking to find some information from a Visual Studio standpoint. So what we plan to talk about in general, though, is some of the rubbing points that we know developers have, and the people who support deployments and in production. Some of the things they happen to say to us that it worked on my machine, right? The age-old classic thing that every developer said, it worked when I was doing it, and it was just fine, right? Or if I can't replicate it, I'm not sure exactly how I'm supposed to fix a bug. So they're complaining really about those issues that exist on some other kind of production server. However, when it comes to their own machines, they're unable to use their skills to get to the bottom of the issue. And then there's the other one where if only there were more logs. If I had one more log point at a particular location, I would have enough information to figure this issue out. But obviously that requires another deployment. That requires integrating with DevOps, that requires a whole bunch of hassle just to see if we can find out the answer to the problem, right? So also, they complain that the test environments don't quite match up to production. So your production environment may scale up to, multiple machines across multiple geographies. However, when you're testing, it may just be a single machine with 4 gigs of RAM, and you're hoping to simulate the same kind of scenarios that you may have encountered in your Azure environment. And it's unlikely for that you actually get into that situation. So why is production diagnostics so hard? And why is my particular area of expertise so hard? And I've joined Microsoft about a year ago, and I worked actually in this space for a while. And a couple of the things that I know that are issues is it's a genuine frustration to get at logs, first of all, to get the logs in the right types of logs in the hands of the right people. When an exception occurs, then those logs may give you some information, but not necessarily all of the information you need. So it's getting the right logs, the right data at the right time. And then, as I kind of hinted at earlier, it's sometimes difficult to get those issues if they only occur at scale, right? If that issue only occurs at scale, or maybe this is a specific environment issue that is specific to your production that you didn't quite match when you were doing your development. Right, and then you've kind of used a set of tools during your development process. You've used a ton of tools that match up to your skill set. So as a developer, I'm going to be sitting doing local development, and so I'm used to Visual Studio. I'm used to setting a breakpoint. I'm used to looking at my call stack. I'm used to looking at the watch window and all those other kind of tools that are available. But then as soon as it goes to production, none of those tools are available to me. I'm stuck now using a different set of tools. You may decide you want to take a memory dump or whatever you need to do, but that's a different tool set than the ones I've spent my last few years mastering. So the agenda today is I want to do a couple of things. I want to show how we can use Snapshot debugger to get information at ad hoc, exactly when you need it, when you're using the Azure platform. I want to use time travel debugging to show how we can record pieces of your code in order for you to use those debugging skills that you have locally acquired, right? So this is from a developer's perspective who wants to quickly get some information that is happening in production, and they want to pull it to their local environment. So before I jump into that, does anybody know who this wonderfully mustached gentleman is? And I'll give you a couple of clues. These are a couple of from his most famous fictional characters said the following quotes: "There is nothing like first-hand evidence." Anybody? I've got a t-shirt if you can figure this out. "It is capital mistake to theorize before one has data. Insensibly, one begins to twist facts to suit theories instead of theories to suit facts." Anybody? Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, great answer. There's a t-shirt for you up here somewhere, I'll get it to you. So of course, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's famous character is Sherlock Holmes. And why is that important to this discussion? Well, the simple fact is that our production diagnostics scenarios, I tend to treat them like crime scenes. I try to treat it as if I'm trying to discover what went on. Who did it? Not necessarily which developer did it, but what scenarios led to this particular situation being the way it is. How did this happen? How did we not account for this scenario? And then why? Why in this scenario did this happen? So one of the quotes that we just talked about were all about how do we gather the right data to make the assumptions or to bring fact to the theory that we've thought about. We always think about what it might be, but then we need to gather data, and that might be in the form of counters, CLR counters. It may be in the form of memory dumps. It may be just looking at your logs. You may find the evidence there, but whatever it is, we need to make sure we got the right data to make the right suppositions. So solving a crime in your code. So if we were doing this as a normal fact-gathering exercise, we would look for eyewitnesses. But they are notoriously unreliable, we know that. We would prefer, however, to have pictures taken, maybe high-def pictures. And even better than that, we would like to get the full context of the issue if somebody had had a high-definition video of the entire scenario, right? We have similar type of approaches to our production diagnostics, where logs become our first step. We look to see if our logs have given us any kind of useful information. But after that, I would propose that we use something like Snapshot Debugger. Now, Snapshot Debugger is a great tool to pull the context from your production environments straight into Visual Studio. So what is Snapshot? What is a snapshot? A snapshot is simply a photograph of your process at a particular moment in time. It takes a photograph of your process, and what you'll actually see in Task Manager is a copy of your original process, a much smaller copy, somewhere in the order of a few 10K of memory. And it's taken a photograph of your process, and in Visual Studio, what we do is we attach to one or more of those snapshots. We get the opportunity to inspect that snapshot and see if it has the kind of data we want. So literally in code, we pick a point just like we would with a breakpoint, and then instead of stopping the process, we take a photograph of the process, and then we look at that process inside Visual Studio. I'm going to show an example of that in a moment. Taking a snapshot is a very low resource intensive process. It's designed to be, it's part of the Windows API. So when you take this picture, essentially you're taking maybe between 10 to 20 milliseconds, depending on the size and the complexity of your app. So you can think of it like a dump, as in a memory dump. However, it's a memory dump for Visual Studio. It's kind of like we've got a memory dump for Visual Studio, and then your Visual Studio experience is just as if you had stopped at a breakpoint, okay? So in the demo I'm going to do here, I'm going to set a snap point. I'm going to walk up to, without restarting, without redeploying, I'm going to get the snap point. I'm going to look at the snap point, see if I can get any data about what an issue I had recently with some open source software. Okay, all right, so. All right, so right now I have set my application. I'm just going to show you another one because this takes a second to warm up. What I've actually done is selected the Azure resource that I want to look at, and in this case it's my Azure VM. On my Azure VM I have a blogging software that I've been working on for a few years now. I've been blogging for about 14 years, so I have a ton of data in the cloud. And I don't necessarily, as part of my open source coding, I don't want to pull that data down to do tests on it. I would like to do those tests that I need in the production environment. I'd like to be able to connect to it. Actually, my blog is here. This is most of the recent information on my blog. And this uses an open source software called DOSBlog. And what I found, if I go to the category menu, I've blogged 82 times about .NET, okay? But if I go and select that, it looks like I get no data whatsoever about .NET. That's obviously a bug, some bug I've missed. So what I'm going to do is attach to the Azure cloud, and I'm going to select some Azure storage for my collection plan. And what I'm going to do here is set a snap point in a strategic place that I know I want data about. And so I'm going to select this point right here. And if you'll see, it looks like a snap, it looks like a breakpoint, a normal breakpoint. We look in the gutter and we select this breakpoint. I'm going to click the configure window here. And I have options here. I could do a conditional snapshot. So first of all, it's only going to collect one. And I can make that conditional and use variables to decide when I'm actually going to collect this data. I'm just actually going to go ahead and select a snap point, simple snap point there. I'm actually, for a little bit later for the demo, I'm also going to do a time travel recording. We'll get to that in a moment, but I'll set that up here just to make sure I finish on time. Okay, and now that I've set those two snap points, I know the code very well, so I know when I execute a particular location on my blog that those two locations are going to get hit. So let me go ahead, I'm going to publish those snapshots. Remember, this is happening in Azure, so I'm going to start the collection, like I would a debugging process, and that has sent those two indicators of where I want to record up to Azure. And as you can see, my snap point has changed now, it's filled in, and that's indicating that that is now active. I'm going to go ahead, go to my blog, and I'm going to run what I know to be the URL that is not correctly bringing me data. And as you can see, I've got 82 blog posts, none of them are showing up, right? So I'm going to hop back over to Visual Studio, and as you can see, I've collected a recording and a snapshot. Those are those points that I selected in code. So I'm going to start, because this takes a few seconds, I'm going to go ahead and view the snapshot. Now this takes a few seconds. What this is doing is it's looking on the VM and saying, okay, I see that you have a snapshot in that location, and I'm going to point to that. And then the second thing it does is it has to load the symbols from the server. The place it looks first is at the server. And the reason why that's important is because as you know, when you run a process in any CPU, the idea of lines of code is kind of a nonsense concept, right? Lines of code help us structure our code in a way that's readable. However, when you go to JIT something and you put it in as an instruction, all it is just instructions to the CPU. So what we need the symbols for is so that we can make a connection between a line of code and a CPU instruction. So what this is going to do is load all the symbols, the PDB files that were on the server. And as you can see now, it's loaded. That pink kind of hue suggests we now have captured the data at that moment in time. So let's have a look at what we can look at. So I can use all my Visual Studio techniques now. I can hover over URL safe categories. I can look at the value I passed into this method. Remember, this is just a picture, a high definition picture at this moment in time. So I know that when the call stack came into this method, it passed in the variable net. And I'm using that to compare against what looks like a dictionary of strings, 75 count words. So over my blogging experience, I've been blogging for 14 years, and I've got 75 different blogging topics, and it's using net as a comparison against my list. I'm kind of a bit closer to the problem now, and actually get to look at the data and actually kind of clear what the issue is. to me is that it's doing a comparison against that dictionary string, and it's not finding net, right? In honesty, it's actually it's trying to compare .NET to net. So I've somehow messed up the features that would allow me to compare the topics in this particular dictionary. So that's snapshots. But also, just to be clear, you can go into your call stack, see how you got to this location. You can go into your locals and see what other variables were at this. So we light up the entire experience of a Visual Studio developer is used to. So you don't have to say, okay, I just need one more deployment and show me with new logs and then show me what that result is. A developer can literally walk up and say, I want to actually have a look at this moment in time and look at my snapshot. Okay. Let's switch back across. So that's snapshots. But we kind of, in our comparison, there's a step beyond that would be also very helpful. So we've got eyewitnesses that are compared to logs. We have high resolution images that you would like to catch the person, the perpetrator in the act of committing whatever crime they're committing. I'm comparing that to snapshot debugging. And then you would actually prefer high resolution video, because then you'll see the entire context of whatever crime it is they've committed, right? You've seen the beginning and the end. You see how they got to that position. You kind of want to get all the evidence you can get. So time travel debugging is exactly where we think that gets filled in. So time travel debugging is essentially a reverse debugging solution where we can record from beginning to end a code, a method. So you will set a snapshot like I did earlier, and instead of it just capturing that particular moment in time, we record the entire method. So this is going to be very useful when you have a complicated method that has maybe too many if statements, far too many for each loop statements, and you'll be able to replay that entire sequence of code forwards and backwards using time travel debugging. So my next demo will be of time travel debugging. Again, I'm just going to use this time travel trace that I collected. If you remember, I collected 2 of them. And I'm going to just really quickly go through that. I think I'm almost out of time here. Let me switch. Okay, so I actually, while we were talking, I actually just clicked on the Start Debugging page, because that takes a few moments to load. Again, just to be clear, we would have to load our symbols. Again, the idea of lines of code has no context when you have a running application. So part of starting the debugging process against this recording trace was loading the symbols. And here you can see I'm still debugging an application running on Azure. And here I'm literally sitting at a line of code. And just to be clear, and the one thing I haven't really emphasized, once I've captured it, my blog is completely responsive to everybody. I haven't stopped my blog. No one is essentially really aware that I've captured these pieces of data. So essentially what I'm doing is my users, if I was doing regular debugging, remote debugging, I would stop the process at that location, look at the data I needed, everybody would be impacted and be complaining, and then we would continue at that point. But with snapshot debugging and time travel debugging, we record it, and after we've recorded it, you get to continue to serve your customers with your application. So just to be clear here, as I dive back in, I get to set breakpoints now. I get to set breakpoints and hit the continue button. And I can move all the way through my application in that way. I can go backwards, I can go through my loops, I can go into methods, I can get out of methods. Looks like I've run out of, yeah, I've got to the end of the file. Essentially that recording file only goes so far, and it looks like I went too far for the recording, but I record everything in that method. Let me just get back. All right, so Snapshot Debugger, these are the products we have. Snapshot Debugger exists in the Azure Portal. It's available in Visual Studio Enterprise, Time travel debugging is in Visual Studio Enterprise. These are the Azure compute scenarios we currently support. We're in App Services, AKS, Azure Virtual Machines, and Azure Virtual Machine scale sets. Time travel debugging is currently only on Azure Virtual Machines and Azure Virtual Machine scale sets. So hopefully I've kind of shown you how with .NET and Visual Studio you can quickly capture the data you need to kind of get to the core of an issue you might be having in production. Please check them out. There's several ways you can get to that data. We've got snapshot debugging data. If you need to get a hold of me, please email me or see me on Twitter. I'll be over at the booth later this afternoon. Please come and talk to me after this as well. And that's it. Thanks very much.